everybody. Welcome to Tutor Doctor TV land with Doug and I. We are going to have a really interesting conversation today with my friends and colleagues. We're going to have them come on in a minute. Lynn Veenstra and Dale LaCure, who are mental wellness advocates. Those of you that know me know what is one of the most important things to me. Somebody's on. Hey. Mental wellness and mental health are so important, especially during this time of such uncertainty for kids and parents. So what we're going to be talking about today with Lynn and Dale are some of their experiences and some of their sort of tips and information on how we can help our kids deal with what's going on today, and help them with their gut brain, what we can do to help them, alleviate and eliminate as much sugar as they can in their diet, and how we can help their mental wellness. So let's bring them on. Welcome to Lynn and Dale.
Hey.
Hey, ladies. Welcome. I just introduced you, our wonderful friends and associates, mental wellness advocates, talking about how we can help our kids out there really improve their mental wellness. So bringing you guys on, I think seems to me the most important thing right now is how can parents help different ways that we can improve our kids' ability to focus, our kids' ability to lower their anxiety, help alleviate stress and anxiety. I know a lot of it has to do with the gut. So I'm introducing you guys. Let's take it away.
All right. I'm Lynn. Glad to be here. I think, I'll start us out with nutrition. That is really important. The things for parents to really be, taking out of their kids' diets is sugar is one thing, because it really wreaks havoc on the microbiome. And it also causes like a lot of, sugar highs and then lows. So the kids, a lot of them are sitting home right now on their computers. And, if they're not getting the proper nutrition, they're not going to be able to focus. They're going to get these sugar highs and these sugar lows. And so taking the sugar out is super, super important. And even dairy causes so much inflammation in the body. It causes mucus. And again, that is wreaking havoc on the microbiome as well. And when we don't have a healthy microbiome, we are not going to have the focus and the stress resilience that we need to, to be able to focus in front of that computer all day long. Other things that we take out are processed foods. You want to totally eliminate the processed foods, the glutens. Your processed foods are going to have food dyes in them. All of this is destroying our microbiome, and that's the core of what we're talking about today.
And can you sort of tell parents, because I don't really know exactly what a microbiome is. What is that?
So the microbiome is the gut flora. We have healthy bacterias and we have unhealthy bacterias. We need some of both, but we need a higher amount of good bacteria in the gut. And I know Dale can probably elaborate on this better. I'm not the sciencey person, but what happens is when our microbiome is lacking that, the good microbes in it, we don't have that proper connection to the brain. So that electrical system is off, and it causes the brain fog. It causes the lack of focus, the ADD, the ADHD, the stress, the emotions that come out with, what so many kids and parents too, that they're dealing with these days.
Right. Good. Great. Yeah. Dale, how can parents, what can they do along with trying to eliminate, because we know I have a 20-year-old. If you guys out there that have kids, the little ones, we can really start at a young age to try to change their diet as best we can. But how can we help to improve our child's ability to focus?
So I'm going to piggyback a little bit with what Lynn said in terms of, sugar. And like we were talking about earlier, having your child, like from the beginning, really limiting the sugar, once they're older, it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm hoping that will catch some moms that are, have little ones, 4 and 5-year-olds. So sugar, what it does, not only is it an anti-nutrient, and when our kids are growing, we want to give them things that are nourishing. Sugar does not nourish their bodies, their little bodies in any way. But more importantly, what it does is really cause an overgrowth of yeast and bad bacteria in the gut. So what that does, not only does it cause more cravings, it's like, and adults too, it's like the more sugar you have, the more sugar you want. And the reason for that is because it's that bad bacteria that sugar lives on is sending signals to the brain. I want more, I want more. But in addition to that, it's pushing out it's not allowing the good bacteria to proliferate and to grow. And what happens is then you're not getting those signals to the brain. So the gut microbiome produces more serotonin, more dopamine, more GABA, more norepinephrine than our brains do. And those neurotransmitters are, everyone knows about serotonin and dopamine, right? Those are our feel-good neurotransmitters. GABA, that's our neurotransmitter that helps us to feel calm and focused. And norepinephrine is big time neurotransmitter for focus. So a lot of kids difficulty focusing merely because their bodies just aren't producing those neurotransmitters. So it's really important. And I know it's a struggle with kids to try to get them to eat right. And we talked before about, getting them to eat more greens and more vegetables. So an easy way to do that would be, a scoop of greens. And my grandchildren love that. And greens in and of itself are really sweet. So
Dale, how do you create something that your grandchildren like with the greens? What is it that they like?
So they, and this is a really interesting thing too, especially with younger children. So if you're introducing, of course you want them to eat the green vegetables, right? But if you can't get them to eat a lot of them, I just give them, I have a powdered greens that's already made, and I'll just throw that in water, or I'll throw that in a smoothie. That way it's easy to get in them. And the more healthy foods, the more alkaline foods that they get, the more alkaline foods they want. And that's the environment that we want to create. We want to create an environment where the body is saying, I want more good foods. And it's really amazing how those signals that come from the gut really influence that. So a lot of kids are also, have a lot of constipation. That's a huge issue as well. And when we see kids that have focus issues, typically they have gut issues as well in terms of digestion. So that right there tells you, if their gut is off and they're not, eliminating every day, or they're not drinking any water to kind of push the toxins out, their gut is out of whack, and then their brain, the signals are just not going to the brain. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Lynn, I would love for you to share that story about the 10-year-old, the daughter. I think that's really impactful, that a lot of parents would be really interested to hear.
I was with a friend recently, and the frustration that she's having with her 10-year-old is that, she's on her computer, yet she has to watch her constantly because she's got YouTube on. She's, turning down the volume of her teacher. She just can't focus. And so she's like all over the place. So, it's a struggle for a child. It's a struggle for a mom. And so this is what kids are dealing with these days. And it just really breaks my heart. I mean, my kids are all older. So, I'm not in that mom stage of, monitoring kids, but they're just not getting what they need. I mean, she sent a math test in, like she just randomly picked answers and sent it in. I'm
hearing that from tutors that they're just opening up an online assignment and it's blank. The kids are just hitting assignment, send in, and they're not doing it.
Yeah. I mean, they're hoping teachers aren't checking them. And,
they are.
I know I've spoken to a teacher, and, she was so stressed that she ended up in the hospital over it. And she's third grade. And she is, she has to go into each kid's portal and check their homework. Her days have become, 12-hour days on the computer. And the kids are, they're just sending it in and saying, Mom, I did my assignment. And it's so stressful.
I think that we're over, like, our expectations are not realistic right now. You know what I mean? But going back to the topic here is really, how can diet influence these kids and their ability to focus? And it does in a huge way. Yeah. And even just getting your children, and it's again, like, it's setting a whole new schedule and regimen for your family. But even if you can get your kids to do jumping jacks for 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Or go outside or meditate, and kids will meditate. They will take, a few minutes if you can guide them. And I know there's kids meditation apps that are out there just to help kids to really calm and center. But if you can set up a schedule for them that's realistic, and that doesn't mean sitting at the computer for 6 hours, because that's not realistic for a child. It's just not. I mean, it's not realistic for an adult, but even for a child. But if your child is, waking up and eating sugary cereal, and they're eating candy at lunchtime, and they're not drinking water, and their brains are not going to be able to focus. It's just, I want
to go back to what you said about running around and doing activity, because I had done a couple months ago, I had done a live about how important brain breaks are for these kids, especially when they're sitting behind the computer, and all the different ideas of what they could do for a brain break. But I was speaking to a colleague and friend of mine who has a 4th grader, and she was saying how in the morning she's on Zoom, and in the afternoon she was going into class. So half the day on remote, half the day in school, and she was going to get a bus. So she literally got off Zoom, had lunch, and had to run to the bus. But when they're actually in a school environment, they have a recess, and they have a time that they can go out and play and get fresh air. And we're not even thinking about that right now, and how important it is for them not only to have a brain break, but if they have a brain break, to go outside and just jump on their trampoline, or go outside and, jump rope or something. After lunch, after they eat, to have some time to take that kind of fresh air break, I think is just so important.
Yeah. And I think Lynn, as an exercise personal trainer, I mean, what exercise does to the brain.
Yeah.
And these little guys, they need to move. So maybe what other kinds of exercises are simple, like jumping rope, right? In the house.
I mean, even just putting music on and dancing, it brings laughter. I
love that.
They're jumping around, they're bringing in more oxygen. That's, opening up those brain pathways. I mean, I did it myself this morning. I came in and there was this funny video on, and, like Charlie Brown, and he was jamming out, and I'm like, oh, let's dance around. What a difference. And I had already worked out, but it brought my mood and my energy from here to here. And this is something simple kids can do.
That's great.
To go do, some heavy duty exercise class.
Yeah.
That's great. Great. I love that. I love that. Now you guys have a Facebook page, right? Which parents can join.
Absolutely.
Where you're mental health warriors. So tell me a little bit about what you guys share and what you do on the page.
So it's Mental Wellness Warriors. And what we do is we have science videos in there that explain the gut-brain connection. There was a really great deep dive, as we call it. So that's like a long, if you're really into the science of it, with Dr. Sean Talbot, who's our formulator. I was just listening to a deep dive that he was doing specifically about children with ADD, autism, ADHD, and talking about the neurotransmitters much more eloquently than I can, but it's really fascinating. So on this page, in this group rather, you'll see stories from moms the one that really stands out to me is a mom whose child at the age of 6 was kicked out of school because of his behavior. He was hitting, biting, I mean, he had an IEP. They were pulling their hair out, and they were, really doing all the things, like doing all the diet, changing things up, going to all sorts of alternative type therapies, brain training, like so many things. But not until they got his gut back in balance did they notice a dramatic change.
Really?
Yeah, there were changes along the way. And her story, and actually I interviewed her on my personal profile, but her story is in our Mental Wellness Warriors group. Her son was he no longer needs his IEP. He no longer needs it. He's scoring 90s on his test. He has friends. It's a completely different child. And it happens pretty quickly with the kids. They respond pretty quickly to this supplementation. I think their little bodies are just like starving for nutrients, and
Like
they're starving
sponges.
for,
Yeah.
they are. So they really respond quickly. So in this group, you'll see, stories like that. You'll see science videos. You'll see other stories of moms and, parents that also struggle a lot with anxiety because of all the stress that's on our table. All the stuff that's put before us is like beyond, anything ever before. But really, everything goes back to the gut. Everything. Our immune function, our stress resilience, our energy, our focus, our mood, like everything really goes back to the gut being able to produce those neurotransmitters that help us feel good and be able to focus and be able to sleep, and it goes on and on. It just all goes back to that.
I think that, what I see out there with all the kids that I talk to, and many of them do have ADHD or ADD,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of becoming, in a weird way, like a semi-normal thing, which, it is, because I see so many kids. Once we can get them to feel better and boost their confidence, so many things can happen. Their creativity is boosted. They can have fun. Their experience can be much more positive, and I think it becomes less stressful. So,
oh my gosh, yeah.
That's why people that work with me know that I believe it's not just all about the academics. It's about the mental wellness, mental capacity, what's going on with the kid holistically. It's all about their holistic way of life. And
there's nothing more important than a child's confidence. There really, truly isn't. And that's going to seep into their entire lives. So, all of these parents that are struggling, and again, my kids are all grown, but my heart goes out to them because, the academics, it's a big mess right now. But you know what? Their mental wellness is way more important. And the mental wellness of the family, the stress level of the family is way more important. They can learn the stuff. You know what I mean? They can learn the stuff. Let's create some peace and harmony in the home and focus on that right now, and focus on being healthy as a family, getting a good exercise regimen going. Maybe get the kids to start learning how to cook healthy foods, educate them about how important healthy foods is and how important exercise is. We can find out to do that. And I think, that's kind of the silver lining here with this COVID thing. It's like, yeah, now we are with one another more. We need to establish maybe a different relationship because we're together 24/7.
Yep.
So let's work on that. Let's maybe get into maybe even take some parenting classes to help us learn new strategies.
I love what you said, that idea about having your kids cook or bake together and find things that they really love to make themselves. Because when I go in and sit with a family, one of the questions I always ask the kid is, what do you love to do? What do you love to do on your free time? And a lot of them say lately, cook or bake.
Wow.
So that's a really cool thing. And it's a thing that they could do together with their parents you can do with your kids. And teach them maybe some healthy choices that they may not have ever thought of. Like, I'm just going to throw one out there: sweet potato pie. Granted, it has sugar in it, but it has sweet potato. It's better than some other choices of something. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Just little tiny baby steps along the way, I think. Same thing with exercising. Little tiny baby steps along the way that can maybe get them to a better diet or a better exercising program? Or
Absolutely. I went to nutrition school. It was all about adding in, not like restricting people. It's adding, you start adding in good foods. And as I was talking about before, it changes the palate, and then you start to crave better foods. You start, when you take sugar out of your diet and then you eat some, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet. So really just to, like you said, baby steps, start adding in some good foods and nutrition, make a huge difference.
And decreasing it. And I think the education is really important, because if you educate your children and say, you're going to feel better when you eat something that's healthier. And if they're cooking it with you, they're going to be way more inclined to eat it and want to taste it.
Absolutely.
So let them come up with recipes, let them throw in there.
I think that's a cool idea.
And you know what? It's going to create like just a healthier ecosystem in the home. Because if the parents are eating healthier, the kids are eating healthier, it's going to lower the stress levels. It's going to bring a bigger calm to the home. You're not going to have those fluctuating moods. I mean, I know just personally, I used to be the biggest, like, just pick here, pick there. But
I can't imagine.
No, I'm serious. I was like a carb junkie. And when I focus on eating like just 3 good meals a day, makes a huge difference. But it's an effort. It really is, but it's worth it.
So when parents out there join your page, your Mental Wellness Warriors, do you run programs in there that they can be a part of, or how can they benefit from being part of your group?
I mean, this group is really was established to just bring information to people, to let people, because I think stories are really powerful. I would personally rather read a mom's story than listen to the science of it.
Yeah.
Science is great, but for a lot of people, it's just like, you know what? I just want to hear another experience from another mom that, like me, that has a child that is unable to focus. Like, that's what I want. So that's what we do. We do live interviews in there. We'll bring in moms to tell their story. We have written testimonials in there. And then we have the science videos for those that want to get really deep into the science of it. But it's really a group to just, help to educate people. And then if someone decides that they want to try this protocol, this system, we are happy to, show them how they can get started. We have a money-back guarantee with our products. We actually have a 1-year money-back guarantee, which is crazy. I never even heard of a company doing that. But that's how strongly we believe that these products can change people's lives. And you'll see the stories in there to show it. It's just phenomenal.
Doug, do we have any feedback so far of anybody asking any questions?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're a little funny. It sounds a little funny, but it's okay.
Okay. Well, we do have a lot of feedback. I encourage you guys, I linked the right stream to comment on. If you click the link and then comment, we can bring up your face, your picture, and whatever. But we do have people who commented on the wrong stream. But we have what a panel. We got so true. We got so excited to hear. And we got hey guys. So we have a lot of feedback, a lot of people interacting, but I encourage you to click the link in the description or in the comment section, because then we can actually bring you up. And if you want, Jessica, it's up to you. We also can do callers as well, if that's an option.
If there's anybody that wants to call in and ask a question, we did that once before. It was great.
Yeah, we can.
So you guys can talk to Lynn and Dale right here personally without just talking on a Facebook group. You can absolutely do that for sure.
Exactly. So we want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you want to ask a question in the comment section, we can answer it live right now. If you want to be a caller. But yeah, we're doing this to be interactive with you and doing this live so you can, be a part of this as well. So we encourage that. And I hope you guys can hear me okay.
We can. We can.
When we can throw out maybe just a couple more tips for our busy.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that.
So I have 5 children. They're all grown.
Wow.
But when I was raising them all, I would make sure that when I cooked like triple, quadruple batches of stuff. And I always tried to involve my kids, whether they were 2 years old, that they could throw the cut up vegetables in the soup, or however you can, just involve your children in the making of the meal. And then also, preparing ahead of time. So definitely tripling up, quadrupling up on anything that you make. Also, like snacks, like have the kids like create little snacks that they could have throughout the day.
It's a great idea.
Then have it like in a place where, and some people get really good with this, where they have their kid's name on a little tray or whatever, and then their snacks for the day are in there. And then they can choose, when they're going to have those snacks, so that they're not snacking all day long, and have them participate in making them healthy snacks. And again, like just educating your kids along the way. And then smoothies or protein shakes is my like go-to for the past 30 years.
So what do you find that the kids, yogurt? I mean, what do you find as the base? No, not yogurt. So what? Almond milk, rice milk?
Yeah, I prefer anything non-dairy. You can even just use water. The protein shakes that we use they have pea protein in them, so there's no way, a lot healthier. And yeah, you can add in almond milk, coconut milk. You can add in nut butters to, bring in some more good fat, avocado. Like you can hide so much in a shake.
Yeah, that's why I love it. You can hide.
I think the key is what you said, is starting them at a young age.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I'm from a family, I think I told Lynn, that was so far, my mother was so far ahead of her time nutritionally. I think in the early 70s, she was making her own kombucha, and nobody even knew what it was. We thought she was completely wacko and off the wall, because we had in our refrigerator these vats of this substance with these mothers in them, and we thought my mother was completely out of her mind. But now, who knows, she could have her own kombucha farm if she was still alive. But, we made our own yogurt, we made our own alfalfa sprouts, but we all thought she was off the wall back then.
Well, you're lucky, because I grew up on sugar like ridiculous.
Me too.
Ridiculous. Every single dinner we had a dessert. And we would go to the candy store every day. And I had cavities every single time that I went to the dentist. So when I had my kids, I was like, this is not happening. So, I mean, I was really pretty restrictive. We did have, as they got older, we would have Sunday was our treat day. So we made a big deal about Sunday treat day. And they really enjoyed it, and it was special. You know what I mean? It made it more special.
Yes, it wasn't like run of the mill. Yeah, but you know what happened? You know what I did? Because I took all my lunch money. And this was the problem. And I would like hoard my lunch money. And what would I buy?
Sugary
Hostess. I'll never forget. Hostess fruit pies, Suzy Q's, all that crap. That's what I'd buy. And that was a problem. So yeah, I'm lucky in that I was exposed to that at a young age. But it was so over the top, kind of, that it kind of made me go the other direction. So you kind of have to find that happy medium there.
Yeah. There's like this 80-20 balance, because nobody can live 100%. It's just impossible.
Right. Definitely moderation. But then again, like we were saying, like the more sugar you have, the more sugar you want, and it's your body.
No, it's completely addictive. 100%.
Yeah, so once you if you have less sugar, you'll want less sugar. You know what I mean? And then once you start to really get on a gut regimen where you're really introducing and repopulating the gut, then that's going to push out that bad bacteria. And we find that people's sugar cravings go away. Yeah, it's really interesting.
That was me. I was totally a carb junkie, and I couldn't believe, after utilizing that protocol for a short time, that I went to like a wedding, and that dessert people used to call me. I was like, I don't even want it. It was crazy. It was like I couldn't believe it.
Well, I'll confess, I do like sweets, but I don't go overboard at all. There is moderation.
So are there any other tips that we could share with parents?
You know, I mean, we talked a lot about it. Dale brought in a lot of the nutrition, as
Great stuff. Yeah.
But movement, making things fun for them during the day. Like you were talking about,
That's
taking
it.
breaks. It's so important. It's
Yeah,
like
music. And music is huge. I mean, 5 o'clock, like, when you're trying to cook and all that, you used to put on like Enya, like a really calm, like yoga music. And it just changes the whole dynamic in the house when you put music on. It's really interesting how that works.
Yeah,
and I have to tell you something that I see with kids doing schoolwork, and I know because I had an issue with my daughter with it, to be honest with you. When I do schoolwork or when I do work, I like it silent. But she and a lot of kids like to listen to their music while they're doing their work or their homework. And it depends on the kid. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Some kids, I know with my daughter, she's like, Mom, I work better that way. Just because I don't work better that way doesn't mean that she, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean that she can't work that way. For her, it's actually better. So I think that's a good point.
Yeah, I think it depends on the kind of music too, and like how they're receiving it. I know my son had a teacher like when he was probably in 6th grade, and he sent them home with cassettes back then. And it was like symphony music, just like Mozart. And it made a huge difference, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
Because testing scores were so much higher that year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do we have anybody tuning in, Doug?
We have plenty of people tuning in. I encourage you guys to leave a question in the comments section, and we will answer it live right now. But time is running out with these lovely ladies, so get them in while you can.
Yes,
So
I have another thing.
Okay.
Water.
Mm-hmm.
Getting fully hydrated. Like water. She really is. And when you're drinking all these sugary drinks or, your Gatorades and things like that, it's really not doing what a good glass of water is going to. It's going to hydrate you again. It's going to push out the toxins that we don't need in our body, and keeping us hydrated. Have you ever been dehydrated and you just can't think? You feel your body,
and you also get a headache.
Yeah, and you get a headache. Yeah.
So water.
Yeah, that's really, really important. And again, we were talking about before, like, if they're drinking juice and then you're going to say, no more juice, we're only going to drink water, like that's not going to work. So just gradually, like, dilute that juice. Yeah. And again, if you have little ones, don't even introduce the juice. Yeah. Like, don't even start there, because then they're going to be wanting it more and more. So if you can catch them and just get them used to drinking water, then you're good. But if they're already taking juice, then just keep diluting it. Same thing with like yogurt. A lot of yogurts are really, really high in sugar, but I used to buy like a plain yogurt and then a sugared yogurt and mix the two together. So you're cutting the sugar right in half. And that's a great way to start introducing, reducing the amount of sugar that they're getting.
Doug, one of my friends and colleagues is telling me that there's a lot of comments. Maybe it's on my page, my personal page.
I put the link on the stream that they should be on. Svetlana has a question right here, but this is what I see, and I encourage you guys to click the link in the comment section. It says, please comment on this stream with a link. I encourage you guys to click that link. Svetlana just figured it out.
Svetlana, she's my big pal here from Fairlawn.
Nice.
Is there any kind of science experiments for teenager adults? Science experiments for what, sweetie? Not sure what you mean.
I think she may be talking about the science of the gut-brain axis.
The science. Okay, cool.
That's what I think she's thinking. The really interesting thing is the protocol, or the system that we use. We have a children's line and we have an adult line, or teenagers. It's the same thing, except that the children's line is all powder and the adult system is powder and some pills. Okay, yes, that is what you meant. So it's the same exact protocol. It's the same thing. It's just in a different form. So yes, absolutely. And it depends on the weight of the child. So 100 pounds and under would use just 1 scoop of powder. And if a child is over 100 pounds, we can give them the adult formula, which is fine. But like I said, it is the same formula.
Nice.
Good question.
Keep them coming,
Very
guys.
good question.
Keep them coming.
I know Josh, who we know, Doug, commented
Yes.
on my personal Facebook page. Wolf Trout says she doesn't see the link on the personal page, but there's comments. So
Let's see here. I'll pull it up.
thanks everybody out there for such engagement. This is great information, and you know what? We all need to help our kids, right?
Absolutely.
I know whenever I meet with a kid, whenever I meet with your students, it's one of the most important things to me. Because you know what? It's all about the holistic child, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the academics, like I said before, I think more importantly is to build up your child's confidence, his mental wellness, and then he's going to be more open to learning things that are maybe more challenging. Like if he has really bad self-esteem and poor confidence, he's not going to believe that he can learn something new. Plus
Exactly.
the whole focus thing is just so important that their little brains, that they're getting, the right signals from the gut so that they can focus and have the mental clarity. So important.
Great. Good. Well, thank you both for joining us. Is there anything else, Doug, that people are asking that we should share?
Let me see here. If for some reason your personal profile comments did not come through, but let me just scan them real quick and I'll verbally tell you guys what they are right now. Josh has a question that he works at a day school program with virtual learners. They have to be near the computers, even during breaks. So movement is definitely essential. He's agreeing with you. But like I said, if you guys comment on the Tutor Doctor of North Jersey's page, we can bring those questions right in.
Now, let me tag on with what Josh. So they can't even get up and take breaks. They're not even getting away from their computer for a break. Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything, ladies, that you've seen to be a quick little energizing break? Lynn, maybe you have a little fun tip that the kids could do? Even from their chair, if they can't even get up. Oh my goodness.
They should be able to get up.
We need to let them get up, Josh.
Yes, we do. They need to. I guess are they allowed to stand and look at the screen?
Yeah, let them stand up, and what can they do? Let's do something fun. On their brain break.
On their brain break.
Run around the school.
I still think it's the music, because the music and a little dancing.
Music and let them dance. I love that.
Yeah, or just jumping jacks, doing some push-ups, anything that's going to create some movement. That's a
great question, though.
It is. And, another thing that parents really can look to is their child's sleep and setting those boundaries. I know with being home, especially when COVID first hit and the kids were home all the time, they were sleeping till noontime and then doing their classes. I know it's different now. It's a lot more structured, but to bring that structure of sleep in, because if they're getting up and they're getting on their computer and they haven't gotten a good night of sleep, they're not going to be able to focus either. It's super, super important that, and kids need at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep. It's a lot for kids.
Yeah, and they're not getting that, especially, by the way, everybody, we know, what are the kids doing? Right now, they're on YouTube videos.
Yeah.
They're staying up all night, even with their phones under their covers, and watching YouTube. All right, I have a question from my very good friend. What do you do with a child that has been raised in a healthy way, and then as a teenager does a 180 and refuses to eat anything that's remotely healthy?
Grounded.
That doesn't work, Doug.
Oh, sorry.
I would say, educate them. But at that age, you can't force it
Tough
down.
one.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to have a conversation, not a battle, not a you against them kind of conversation, the conversation about, tell me what's going on, like, how are you feeling? Why do you think that there's a reason that you're not really wanting to eat good foods? Like, you know what I mean? Like, have a conversation about it. Have maybe some education. Do you think that maybe there's some kind of like gut imbalance going on? Maybe educate them about the gut imbalance and how that can really create this craving for things that aren't good for them. Like, the science of it is really interesting. So, having that conversation, and again, I was going to say this before about families and schedules, like, sit down and have a family meeting and figure out, let them create a schedule. And with the whole idea of, we want to have harmony in the home. We want to have good communication. We want to have good relationships. We want to have happy, healthy kids. How can we make this happen? Let's sit down and have a conversation about some things, some changes that we can make, some things that we can implement in the home to make us be happier together.
Well, I like what you said before about maybe having them come up with some healthy snacks or healthy ideas that they would want to make, that maybe they don't think are healthy, that maybe are a little bit healthier than what they already, like I said before, little baby steps. But she was just saying, yeah, when she's done that, because she's very on top of this whole health thing, her teenager goes, la, 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 and, tune out, let's tune out here. And, it's hard because
well, I would say kudos to that mom for doing the best that you can. And then when they get to teenager, I mean, they know the choice. You know what I mean? You've educated them. You got to let it go. You can't let it be a battle. But again, if this teenager doesn't drive, then that's up to you what you bring into the household. So that's on you.
Yeah.
But again, like with teenagers, when my son was 17 and he was off at college, who knows? But for the most part, then, you did your best. You gave them a really good, great foundation. Like, don't worry.
My mother. That's what happened with me and my mother.
Yeah. I mean, don't create a battle about it, because you want a good relationship with your child. That is the most important thing. And don't battle over things that aren't that important.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you've given them the good foundation. And I know she's given her kids the good foundation.
Yeah.
And you sort of have, like, the same with my daughter. I just have to, you have to let them come around to it on their own eventually.
Yeah, it's true. Dale and I both have been in a class in digital marketing, but they've taught us like an evaluation process, which I think is really even valuable to bring home to the table. I mean, one of the instructors, her kids are little, and every night at dinner, they sit down and they say, okay, what 3 things worked today? What 2 things didn't? What's one thing you can do differently to change, what's not working? So it's giving them the power to see what's working for them, what's not, and, that they have this ability to shift and make a choice as to, how to make something better in their life.
Yeah. And when they're ready to shift, they will shift.
Yeah.
That's the frustrating part as parents, right?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Anything else, Doug? Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, so I mean, your comment section is working, because I posted a comment, you posted a comment saying to check out the live stream here. So for whatever reason, a couple of your comments didn't come through. But if you're watching and you want to ask a question, do it on the Tutor Doctor of North Jersey page. But as of right now, I don't really see any more questions. You guys have done a wonderful job and very informative. But yeah, we're looking good here.
And if anyone is interested, you can go to the mental wellness warriors page to learn more about their system, their whatever you call it. You called it something particular.
Testimonial.
Yep, the stories, parent stories. Share your stories. Join the group. Check out the information. And I sometimes, when I'm with families where I hear of a student that's really, really having focusing and problems, I always recommend alternative ways to deal with things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the most important thing for parents to realize is that it's not a brain thing; it's a gut-brain thing.
It all connects.
It is. The gut is the second brain. If you just Google even focus and the microbiome, like all sorts of stuff is going to come up. It's science. We have clinical studies to show what happens, the changes that can happen when you get the gut back in balance. It's remarkable, and kids especially, because they don't have like the mental talk going on. So when they don't feel good, or they're acting out, or they're having meltdowns, look at their physical body. Have they slept? Have they hydrated, like Lynn was saying? Are they constipated? Are they eating healthy? Are they eating tons of red number 5 and 40 and all those toxins, really? Look at the physical body of the child, and then evaluate. It's not a brain thing. There's nothing wrong with the brain. It's the signal and communication from the gut to the brain is not happening. So we need to repopulate that gut and make that happen.
Thank you all. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. I just want you, for those of you that may be going on a Dale or Lynn's page to learn about who we are. I am Jessica Bush. I own Tutor Doctor of North Jersey and Rockland. I'm actually going into my 10th year in business. And many really wonderful families and kids in the area. And if you don't know me and you want to reach out to me, Doug, best way to do it is to email me. And my email is, ta-da!
And you kind of beat me to it, Jessica, because I was going to say, if you want to learn more about any of the fine ladies we have today, it's the easiest way for you to direct people is to email Jessica at jbush@tutordoctor.com, and she could facilitate you to the right Facebook group, to the right person you're looking for. Just keep it simple.
And we also have a parent group, which a lot of you may be asking questions from, the parents of North Jersey educating your children. So we're there. We're giving you a lot of resources. That's what it's all about. If you need help academically from ages 5 to adult, test prep, whatever, let us know. But thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great information. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.